Hello, and welcome to the Drop of Light podcast with your host, Mike. In a world where things can feel really dark and heavy, sometimes all we need is a drop of light. Now, today's topic that I wanted to do is the topic of resistance. Yeah. Even saying that word already brings up a feeling like resistance. Can feel a sense of I kind of want to move. See, I'm resisting the moment. So we're gonna do some movement and reconvene. And we're gonna move you closer. That's not comfortable. Yeah, there's a thing here. There we go. Okay, so resistance. There we go. So, that word resistance can bring about a feeling of tension, of pushing away. I really like that scene in Harry Potter. I think the first one, Philosopher's Stone, when I think they're first entering that vault where the Philosopher's Stone is, or right behind the three-headed dog. I should really remember the name of that dog. If you remember it, you can shout it out loud. And they jump in right after and they go into these vines, and these vines are like constricting them, and the more they try to resist and pull away, the stronger the vines are. That's what I see resistance is. And as soon as you let go, you pass through the moment. So just before you're about to get the sense of release and moving forward and everything, comes all this resistance. So I find resistance is usually a sign of what's to come, of what's coming next. And at first, resistance can have this very negative take on it of, if you're in therapy, here it goes. Resistance is like, oh, person's resisting treatment, or this person's resisting in hearing me. Or if you're trying to do a sport, the athletes are resisting your advice, or it's seen as a way that it blocks progress. That resistance is just not helpful. When in fact, resistance is the first step to helpfulness. Before anything is resistance. For example, in the morning, we're usually met with resistance of like waking up and having to get the day, and there's that tiny little bit of resistance. But as soon as you notice it, as soon as you notice that resistance, you're starting the day. Resistance only expands or constricts when you don't notice it. Kind of like that Harry Potter scene. As soon as, I think it's Hermione, notices that the vines are only getting stronger the more they resist, then it's all solved. Then they relax and they go on their way. To that chess scene, that's a meme now. And it could be completely misremembering the scene. So there you go. Yeah, resistance. Play a drinking game. Take a drink every time I say resistance in this episode. In the morning, as the door is creaking. Sorry, so part of this podcast is going to have a little bit of my spaciness. What did I want to say on it? So as soon as you recognize it in the morning that like I'm resisting it, then you can let go. Usually resistance can be related to something like anxiety or worry. That's that pushing away, that I don't want this. And as soon as you think I don't want, it opens up the space of what I do want. If I get meta, I don't want this podcast to be boring. I don't want it to fail. So I want it to be successful. I want it to be exciting. I want it to be of interest to people. I want it to be useful. And here I am, just trying to do what I want. Will I succeed? I don't know. But I'm trying. So first there's all this resistance of, I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want that. And so it's recognized, oh, there you are, resistance. Hi, you're there. And we come on in. And it's all good. So yeah, what more could I say? With a lot of mental health things, I was thinking like depression and anxiety, it seems to be an exercise of resistance. So as soon as, with those two specifically, depression and anxiety, there seems to be a want to resist it. Like, I don't want to feel anxious. I don't want to feel depressed. And that feeds the depression and anxiety. And when you allow, like I allow myself to feel anxious, I'm just going to allow it. The anxiety kind of goes away. Similar with depression, it's like I'm allowing myself to feel depressed. And now I'm just a little bit less depressed. It doesn't cure it, but it kind of releases it. Let's see if I can find a better example or deepen this a little bit. Let's say I'm really worried about, it's actually actual worry, my dog eating candy in wrappers if it's left on the kitchen table. And I have to constantly be vigilant about it and make sure it's all, kitchen's always clean, which is nice. Thank you, dog, for that. And so I'm worried. I have like, it's a worry, maybe not completely anxiety, or anxiety about my dog getting sick or hurt or anything, because I love her. So I don't want her to get hurt. So I'm anxious about it. If I can tell us, like, don't be so anxious, it's out of your control, all that stuff, like that builds the resistance. If I allow it being like, well, of course I'm worried about my dog. I love her so much. And she's so amazing and so funny. And you can maybe hear her tip tap around here. Then my worry kind of releases, if that makes sense. Another example is depression of, I'm so depressed. I didn't get anything done today. I didn't get out of bed. I was on my phone all day. It was just horrible. I don't have therapy for another month. I might not even have therapy. I'm kind of getting into examples. I don't have anyone to talk to. When I talk to people, they don't understand. I feel so lost and disconnected. We're connected with everyone on social media, and yet I feel so alone. So really in that depression. And it's kind of like, I don't want to feel so alone. I don't want to feel so disconnected. I don't want to be lying in bed and not being able to do anything. I don't want to be so lazy or procrastinating, all that stuff that I don't. Okay. Allow. Recognize the resistance. I'm fighting this depression thing. It's a battle. Allow it. Allow it. But it gets worse when I allow it. It gets worse. Allow it. Allow it. Just allow it. And it calms. And it's like, okay, is there something else there? Can you really not get anything done? Well, I'm able to get to this appointment. I was able to brush my teeth. I was able to feed myself. Wow. That's so good. Just step by step. But I wanted to apply to this job and I couldn't. That's okay. The best time is now. Allow it. So notice the energy shift between I don't want this, it's no good, to I allow it, I accept it. So resistance is the first step to accepting and allowing and feeling free and open. It's like an inner space. Of course, everything that I'm saying is really sped up. It's like I'm moving really quick. I'm condensing years of journeying into like 5-10 minutes. So it is closer to the process of allowing is like days and months and years. But at the end of those days and months and years, it adds up. And that's what the resistance usually is. The resistance is wanting an instant result, when in reality, we have to allow it to take time. Like, I mean, if I go back to Harry Potter, it's controversial these days, but just for the series as is, you know, Harry doesn't solve his journey in one episode, in one movie, right? It's like 7 movies long. It's a whole journey. It's years in this fight against Voldemort and everything. It's years. It's long. It's not as soon as you've defeated the vines is over. No, there's like, I don't know, 20 more layers, if not more. It's like every step. This podcast, you know, this episode 2, you want it to be big on episode 1. It's kind of like you go into say you get into the NBA, like you work so hard and you got in, but that's the first step. Winning a title in your first in, it's like, it could happen, I guess, but it's almost not meant to. Plays the seasons and like practice the sport. Practice. There's time. There is time. I hope this connects. The idea of resistance, anxiety, depression, all being these things we want resolved instantly, but we give it time. It resolves like watching trees grow or grass grow. It takes time, and we don't know exactly what the final product will look like, but we know what we want to put in the seed. So it's kind of like, I want, say, tomatoes. I'll plant some tomato seeds. I don't know exactly what the tomato is going to look like. I mean, I have a general sense of what a tomato is, but what this tomato will grow from the seed, I don't know until it happens. And that's going to take days or weeks. I've never grown one. Maybe I have to try. So allow it. And this is the part where I want to kind of connect to anyone listening to, like, if you feel rushed, if you feel like you're resisting certain things, allow it and then know it's going to take time. Like, things take time to unfold. Kind of going back to the name of this, like, when you look at the night sky and it can be so dark. It gets dark early these days. By the way, I forgot, today's November 26th, 2024. Probably be released not on this day. But you just allow it to unfold. Like, wherever you're rushing to, you want quicker, feel like you're resisting, you feel like you're going through something, allow it. It's the most beautiful and compassionate thing one can do. Because the more you fight, the more the world fights back. And the world kind of doesn't want to fight you. I feel like I went off topic a little bit. Going back to that darkness, that's where I lost it. So the dark night sky, so dark. And then there's a drop of light, a star, and then look, another one, and another one. How long will it take all the stars and everything? Long time. And in the meanwhile, you have this beauty, constellations, astrology, astronomy, this blue sphere, we're on a planet, blue and green, change of temperatures, scary. Allow it, see what happens. Green technologies, see what happens. People being kinder, see what happens. Sometimes people being mean, see what happens. Our resistance wants to have a final product now. Like, resistance just like, no, that's it, I'm done. Just allow it. Eventually it'll change. Everything will. And that's the beauty of it all. So with that said and done, went a little longer today. I mean, as long as it needed to be. I'll share this practice with you guys that I have with myself of kind of looking at myself as the most precious thing, even though I definitely feel like I do things that are not deserving of my love to myself. That's the perfect time to give the love to yourself. Of, I love you, and I appreciate you, and I care about you, and you're doing just fine, and it's all gonna be okay. Alright then, well, till next time, peace out.